Okay, welcome to the American Business Systems Wednesday webinar. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon, and I can see attendees are starting to trickle in. We've got folks joining into the webinar and figuring out the Zoom settings and everything. So we'll give everyone just a few moments to get settled in and get comfortable with the controls. And again, we appreciate everybody joining today. Today, we're going to be taking questions live. So throughout the entire webinar, we'll spend about 30 to 45 minutes answering any and all questions that you guys have. And the way that we are going to do that is through this Q&A panel. So if you can find in your Zoom controls, there should be a Q&A button in your Zoom controls, and that'll open up the Q&A panel. And you can very easily type a question in there, and we will see the question and answer it live on air. So just to make sure things are working properly, for those of you who are already joining in the webinar, if you would open your Q&A panel and click to add a Alan, you beat me to the punch. You can click to add a question, and let's just make sure that this is working. If you don't mind, for those of you who are already logged on, if you would just add your location where you're dialing in from and say hello, we'll know that the audio is working and the Q&A panel is working. And Alan, no, we don't have a golf shirt for brand new licensees coming on board, but we're certainly excited to have you and Ashley joining the team here. Charlie, hello. Thanks for taking the time to say hi in the Q&A section. Eric as well, thank you for testing things out. And welcome from Jackson, Mississippi. Eric, good to see you here. And very nice to meet you yesterday. Oh, Charlotte, hi. Appreciate you putting a quick note in there. Charlotte, dialing in from Houston. Thank you for letting us know. And Charlie from India. Charlie, are you in India at the moment or just originally from India? It'd take you just a moment probably to update your question there, but we appreciate you joining us, Charlie. We've got some other folks trickling into the webinar. Feel free to use that Q&A panel to get some questions loaded up for us. But I should probably take a moment and introduce myself. My name's Jason Pettit. I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at American Business Systems. And for 30 years, we have been helping people start successful medical billing businesses. I've been with the company for 16 of those years, and favorite industry I've ever worked in, favorite company I've ever worked for, and absolutely delighted to be here on the webinar today to help give some insight into our business model. A couple of things about American Business Systems. We've won some awards, and we've gotten noticed over the years through different franchise associations and organizations. Most recently, last year, we were named for the 4th year in a row in the Franchise Dictionary Top 100 Game Changers. So it's a top 100 list of the game-changing franchise concepts, and a Franchise Dictionary is a sister company of an organization called FranServe, which is very diligent in helping people explore franchise options. They've got some really great franchise consultants with FranServe. And if you have not already gotten a copy of Franchise Dictionary, it is totally free. You can go to franchisedictionary.com, and every single month they release this magazine digitally, and it's free for you every single month. You can get on their distribution list, you'll get an email, a lot of great things in that magazine. We also have everything that you need to start a successful medical billing business. Now, of course, that includes marketing materials and books and flyers and things like that. It also includes a website for your company, all the software that you need to run your business, also training and support. And we're proud to say we're the only franchise in the world with a 30-day unconditional 100% money back guarantee. Uh, some of you might have been on webinars previously. Some of you, this may be your first time and you're just sticking the toe in the water. I do want to point out we have a 5 Secrets to Success ebook. It's a good sort of starter, quick key points of the business model that you can review. And that is available for free on our website. You can see our website is at the bottom right of the screen, absystems.com. And when the main page loads, you can go to the top right of the screen and click on the download our 5 Secrets to Success, put your name and email in there, and it will automatically send you a copy of that 5 Secrets ebook. Totally free. Just put your name and email address in and it'll send it straight to you. We've had a few more people join, so I want to remind you that we are going to be taking questions live for about 30 to 45 minutes on the webinar today. And the way to access the Q&A panel so that you can type in your questions, find your Zoom controls, look for the Q&A button, and that will open the Q&A panel so that you can put your questions into there. And Charlie, I just now saw your response. You're originally from India. Good to hear. Glad to have you on. And sounds like you're probably accessing the webinar from the US today. But appreciate you replying. So if you have questions, don't hesitate. Go ahead and start typing them into the Q&A panel, and we will start taking those questions live in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce our co-host today and our CEO of American Business Systems, Adam Phillips. Adam is a published author. He's the co-author of the book you see on your screen now, 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. This is a really cool book. It shows doctors different areas of their medical practice that they can increase revenue and stop some of the financial bleeding that we often see in these private medical practices. You do get copies of this book included when you invest with American Business Systems, and our owners actually use this book as one of the marketing strategies, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So published author, and Adam also has been published in many magazines. Most recently, he was published in BC Advantage, which is billing-coding.com. This is an industry publication that talks about billing and coding news and regulations and things like that. And Adam most recently published an article about artificial intelligence and the impact that may or may not have on the billing world. So if you have not seen this article, feel free to send an email to your American Business Systems rep. They'd be happy to give you a copy. It's a great article. We're going to talk a little bit about how AI plays a role in the industry already and what the future might look like. We'll chat about that shortly. But before we jump into that, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our CEO and my best friend from childhood, Adam Phillips. Adam, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Jason, sure. Thanks for having me on here. It's good to get together and chat about the program, and happy to answer any questions that people might have today.
Yeah, see, we already have one question pop up from Eric, so we'll jump into that here in just a moment. And as a reminder, you can put these questions in directly into the Q&A panel. It's going to be an awfully boring webinar if we don't get some questions in there. So don't be shy. We're not going to bite. You can ask any question you want, anything that you're considering about the business that we can help provide insight on. We'd be happy to chat about. So why don't we just jump right into this first question? We're going to go into the live Q&A. Again, for a couple of people have joined in the last couple of minutes, you do need to find the Q&A panel in your Zoom settings. That'll open up a area where you can add a question. But Adam, do you want to talk about this first question from Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. So Eric is asking a little bit about our 30-day guaranteed money return is what he says. He says the 30-day guaranteed money return, does that start after training, and is that in the contract? Yeah, so We might actually want to kind of just give a high level overview of what this model is all about for people who may not quite understand the differences between us and like a traditional franchise model. But one really we have a couple of real key differentiators. And one thing that we're really proud of that we'll actually talk about at the very end of this thing is we have started offering years ago, we started offering a money back guarantee for folks who basically would go through our entire training program, and for whatever reason, maybe they just decide, I don't feel like this is right for me now that I've been through the training and I've seen all the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything about the business. And so we put that in our agreement. That was many years ago. Probably we've been offering that for what, 12 years, maybe more. I don't remember.
Long time, over a
Yeah.
decade.
Yeah. And so we did that because we want people to feel like there's an extra safety net after they invest the money for the business. So essentially what we're doing is we're giving people plenty of time to go through the entire live training that we do. It's an online training with a live instructor. It's 10 90-minute modules. And so 30 days is plenty of time for people to get through that thing. And then at the end of that training, you can basically just decide, it's not right for me if you want to. He asked how many people have done that. It's pretty darn rare. I don't have any numbers, but it's very few and far between. In fact, what we usually see, and if you look at our interviews and testimonials on YouTube and such, and our Google reviews, most people, when they finish the training, they are blown away by the possibilities and the opportunities that they just didn't realize were there with all of the other ancillary services. Like, this is so much more than just a medical billing company, a billing service. You're actually able to analyze a doctor's practice and identify multiple pain points. And we actually have about a dozen different services that you can offer that all provide revenue streams for you. And so usually when people get done with the training, they're just like, oh my gosh, this is so much better than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I always tell those people, you are more than welcome to give us more money if you would like to. If you feel like it's worth more, you can give us more money if you want. People usually don't take us up on that offer, but no, they feel like it's highly valuable. The investment range is 30,000. We're going to touch on that here in a minute and what you get for your money, but it's a one-time investment. And that is on the very low end of franchises and business opportunities. If anybody has been researching those online, that's the entry point. I mean, you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with a traditional franchise. So let's see if I covered everything there. So he's also asking about, kind of like a failure rate. We get that question a lot. What's your failure rate? Do you want to touch on that one,
Yeah.
Jason, like failure rate?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. In the franchise world, of course, franchises don't refer to it as a failure rate. That's a kind of a dirty term in the industry. You don't want to have the F word associated with your franchise brand. So they don't say failure rate. They'll say dropout rate. So if a franchise is being transparent, there are essentially no franchise models that have less than a 5% dropout rate. You're considered a rock star franchise if you have over a 95% success rate. And our dropout rate is in the same range that most legitimate franchises fall into. Most legitimate franchises have between a 5 to 10% dropout rate. And that's to be expected. Remember, a franchise model has a proven track record, but most franchises, if you have the money, are going to allow you to invest. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, if you have the money, they're going to let you join. So a person could have the funds to invest, but may not have the discipline or the skill set or, even an understanding of the business, but they do have the money. And so you occasionally will have a great franchise or a great franchise concept, but the franchisee doesn't put in the effort or doesn't understand the business model properly and misapplies the effort. and the wheels come off the bus and nobody can do anything to help an individual that, won't follow the plan. So our dropout rate is somewhere in that same range, around 5 to 10% dropout rate. And, we've seen that over 30 years of doing business. We do our very, very best to bend over backwards and help every single person that comes through training and is utilizing our support services to grow the business, get clients, properly manage those clients. But you just run across a person here and there that it wouldn't matter what you did. The business isn't going to work, not this one or any business. So around 5 to 10% dropout rate. Growth of the company over the last 30 years. This is Eric's last question in this first batch. Growth rate for us, I think you're probably talking about maybe growth rate of the industry or growth rate of American Business Systems as a company. We have been profitable every single year for 30 years. That includes pandemics, that includes 2 major recessions. I mean, you could argue we are possibly in a recession right now, just a soft recession. And we've made money. We've been profitable every single year, and so have our owners. We've never had a downturn that put the brakes on this industry. So I hope that gives enough insight into that question. Adam, in the next section, definitely I'd like for you to handle the second part of the question from Eric, origin of the company and how the idea and the company was started. That's a great story, so I'll let you launch into that one.
Sure. Yeah. And just the first part of it, Eric's asking, are there any laws per state that prohibit ABS expansion or usage? Eric, no, nothing that we're aware of. And this model is a little bit different in that regard. All of our owners, they're operating under their own individual entities. And so we help them set up their own company name, their own brand. So all that information is printed on the marketing materials that you get. It's on the website that you get. So you're truly an independent business owner, and you can expand into any part of the United States. That's one thing that's great about this model is there's no restricted territories of any kind. There's no royalty fees to pay us. So you really have a lot of flexibility and a lot of freedom to kind of grow the business however you see fit. A lot of people keep it small and home-based. A lot of people do end up hiring employees and getting office space and the whole 9 yards. So it's completely up to you as far as what your growth goals are for the business. But origination of the company, this is a family owned and operated company. My parents actually founded ABS here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 1994. Prior to that, they had started their own little medical billing company that they were doing from home. And they started building it to the point where they had people asking them, how you guys, you guys are getting new houses and cars and what's going on here? Like, are you dealing drugs or what? And they were like, no, we started a medical billing business. So my dad, being kind of a marketing sales genius, he decided, you know what? We could put together a package and be a value added reseller of software and materials. And so he put all this package together with his knowledge of marketing so that people could avoid the marketing mistakes that they made in the beginning. And so that's what we've been doing for the past 30 years is kind of perfecting all of our marketing methods and making sure that they are proven in the market, and they absolutely are. And we have this very clear set of steps that we give you to follow, that if you follow these steps exactly, you're going to get a client. That's just the bottom line. It takes different people different amounts of time before they get their first couple of clients, but it's going to happen if you're following our plan to a T. Was there anything else in that section from Eric there?
How the industry has changed is the last part of that batch of questions.
Oh,
And,
goodness. It's yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
Eric, you're really helping out here with the questions. You keep them coming.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 30 years, we've seen crazy changes. Like, for example, I remember my mom using a typewriter to do claim forms. That's how long we've been doing this. She would put this 2-part piece of paper through this typewriter and type it out. And if she messed up anything, she'd have to use this liquid called whiteout stuff. And anyway, so we went from this archaic, paper typewriter thing, and then it gradually evolved into electronic systems. And then so they had moved to computers. And then the next big thing was, oh, well, everything is in the cloud now, online. And so we evolved into that. And we're going to talk a little bit about our different software partners and things like that. But we have a lot of flexibility with regard to software technology and things that doctors are needing in the market that they're asking for. We can be very nimble with regard to that. And I'll touch on that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, we've been able to stay on top of, I guess I'll just talk about that. I mean, we've been able to stay on top of all these different industry changes very easily because we are not software developers. That's not our expertise. And what we have done, which we feel is an excellent model, is we've partnered with multiple different technology companies to provide some of these services and softwares and systems that you're using. And so we can be flexible and add other technologies as needed to make sure that we're offering everything that doctors need. So we are absolutely staying on top of the cutting edge, the bleeding edge, as my dad liked to say, of medical billing and healthcare technology. So, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Eric, you're just killing it with all the questions here. We appreciate you. This is keeping the wheels turning, and lots of great questions. Want to remind everyone, if you haven't found the Q&A panel, look in your Zoom settings. You should have a control panel with the Q&A button on it. Click the button, start tossing your questions at us. These are a lot of fun. We really enjoy doing these live Q&A sessions, and we're happy to answer any and every question that you'd like insight on. I'll take the next question from Eric. Eric's asking about data breaches. Has it happened? How often? What does a data breach look like? We have never had a data breach with American Business Systems or with any of our partners. And we don't expect to. Things are run, the ship is run very tightly. But the reality is the world that we live in, you expect to have a data breach at some point. It's just reality. There's in recent news over the last year, there's been a couple of really big health information technology companies that have had data leaks. There was a massive Social Security card leak from a public data repository about a month ago. They haven't even really figured out how much information was leaked, but essentially it looks like every single person in the country got their names and Social Security numbers leaked. So, in the next 10 years, you can probably forget about having any kind of privacy or security with your personal information. There's going to be a file out there, for all of us. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to stay in front of these hackers. But we do have protocols in place. We do follow best practices. Everything has two-factor authentication that's built into the system. That's not optional. Everyone has to use two-factor authentication. So in order for someone to get an attack vector on a user login, they'd have to not only have the user login and password, but they'd also have to have access to the user's device that they're getting the two-factor authentication request or response from. That's a very secure scenario. So we don't expect it to happen, but this is reality. It can always, there's no 100% guarantee on that. Eric is also asking about a main office in Dallas and asking about coders and billers and where they work. Are we remote? So the way that American Business Systems is structured, we are based in Dallas, Fort Worth. We are a fully remote company. We don't have a physical office anymore. And actually, a few months before COVID hit, almost like we had a crystal ball, we just decided that the overhead of having a big office, a big, expensive office for, the ABS corporate employees to come into just didn't make sense. You waste 30 minutes one way, 30 minutes the other way getting to work. That's lost time. And then, you have your ABS is a family owned and operated business. You have, you're working with your friends, you're walking down the hall, you get stopped and you're chit-chatting with people and everything. I'll tell you, I get 10 times more work done working from home than I did when we had an office. So we did away with that a few months before COVID. And, thank God we did because, we wouldn't have probably enjoyed having an office space at that point anyway. And then as far as having billers and coders. Uh, American Business Systems is not a billing or a coding company, so we don't have billers and coders that are directly employed by us. We are partnered with a third-party medical biller staffing company. The staffing company is US based, but the coders are based in the Philippines, which is a tremendous asset for our owners. And it's a great option to be able to plug in a remote medical biller to help you as your business grows. So that's an awesome option. But ABS doesn't have any billers or coders that we employ directly. So I think that answers your question, Eric. If we didn't quite hit home on what you were looking for, feel free to type a follow-up question.
Just to add one more thought on that, Eric, the system is completely HIPAA compliant and compliant with every type of government compliancy required thing that's out there. And that's the beauty of it being a cloud-based platform. And this is going to tie right into Cherie asked the question, how do you handle updates and changes in medical billing regulations and codes? That's a great question. So with regard to the system that we have been talking about, the iClaim system, is completely cloud-based, which means we are handling all of that technical stuff for you. We are doing all of the backups of the data. We're doing all of the updates for the software system behind the scenes. So anytime there's changes to the coding database, anytime the government comes out and says, okay, well, now we have this new payment model and you have to file a claim this way instead of this way. Oh, and by the way, your system has to be ready and certified for that by this date. We have already updated our system well in advance of the government timeline for those changes. So we are absolutely on top of every single change that they can try to throw at us, every curveball they try to throw at us. We've got it updated and ready. So every morning when you log in, every morning when your doctors log into the platform, they have the latest, greatest version of the system. So that makes it really great. And then, of course, we do have a private support website that you'll get a lifetime login to as an ABS business owner. And we have tons of information that we're constantly posting out there to keep you updated on what's going on in the industry, as well as doing business owner webinars, kind of like what we're doing today, but more in depth. We do those for our business owners as well. So let's see. I think that covered. Is Eric asking more questions up there?
Yes.
Okay, when submitting the records in the system, this sounds like Eric is in the industry. If I had to guess, I think he's probably in the medical billing industry. I'm not sure if he's got his own billing company or if he works for a doctor or something, but I'm suspecting that. Eric, it sounds like you might really benefit from a full demo of the platform because you're asking a lot of kind of technical questions about it. But maybe we might want to talk offline about getting him a demo and asking, showing him how the claims thing. Basically, he's asking when you submit the claims, is the system open 24/7? Yeah, it's absolutely. When you file claims, no matter what time of day it is, they are being submitted to the insurance companies in real time, no matter what time of day it is. So absolutely, you can file claims 24/7, and usually you can get one doctor's claims done in about an hour, hour and a half. So like you can wake up the first thing the next day and the doctor sent you the claims, the previous day. You can have them all knocked out and filed, first thing in the morning, breakfast, a lunch break, or maybe that evening. So it's very, very easy to get all that stuff done pretty quickly, the claims.
Yeah, so Eric chimed in. I'm actually working with Eric directly, and we do have a demo on deck coming up
Oh,
pretty soon together. But Eric is a nurse practitioner, so he's an RN. So
okay. Okay, cool. Good to meet
yeah,
you, Eric. Asking some good questions there.
yeah. So industry experience, and yeah, these are all excellent questions. We appreciate you, Eric. Adam, I may suggest you take Cherie's next question about any plans for new products or services to be added. Certainly we could talk about the ambient assist feature that just rolled out, but
Yeah.
maybe any other stuff that you know of that might be coming down the pike.
Sure. Cherie, I don't know how long you've been looking at our opportunity, but for the past many, many, many years, we have constantly been trying to improve our product offerings for our business owners so that they really are able to kind of set themselves apart from there's tons of people out there offering a billing service. That's not hard to do. But what a lot of people are not doing is they're not able to present themselves as what we call a full service revenue cycle management consulting firm, which is kind of a mouthful. But that lets doctors and other people know that you've actually got a whole suite of products and services that you can help doctors with in different ways. And so some of the stuff that we're working on, which has been in the news a lot, is AI. And we actually have several different technology partners we're working with that have recently starting to integrate AI features into their platforms. And so that's one thing that we could show you on a demo if you'd like to see some of that. But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline that we're working on that I can't really talk about right now, unfortunately. But as you can see, we usually will match the price of the business package. If you've been looking at our business package for a while, it's gone up considerably throughout the years. That's because we've added value. We continue to add value, and that's what I want out of this business. Is I want to make our owners be completely set apart from any competition and blow the competition out of the water. And also, because of all those services you've got, we're able to really impact the private practice. And that's very important to me. And we really have impacted many, many private practices in a positive way throughout the years. I mean, we have seen practices that were about to just shut down and go out of business because it was such a mess. Their AR was a mess. They didn't have any idea what they were doing. And we've turned them around and they're profitable now. We've seen 20%, 30%, even more in annual revenue increases by using some of our services. So this is a big deal. This is not just a little drop in the bucket that we're doing for doctors. I mean, we really are helping them out quite a bit. So that was a long answer to that question.
Yeah, good answer though. Sheree, thanks for the questions. We appreciate you. You got another one in here. Adam, I'm going to take Alan's question. By the way, Alan is our newest American Business Systems owner. He and his wife, Ashley,
Yeah.
just today moved forward and they're launching their business with us starting next month. So
Right.
Alan, real pleasure working with you. And we're really pleased to have you and Ashley come aboard. And Alan has a great question here, going back to our medical biller staffing partner that has the workforce is based in the Philippines. So these are Filipino billers and coders that our owners have access to, and that you can plug into your company, your operational model, as the business scales up. So Alan's question is, are there any issues from a compliancy standpoint with the Filipino billers and coders accessing the data in the system, overseas? No, there's not any issue whatsoever. We have many owners successfully using the Filipino billers. We get rave reviews about them, and they're very inexpensive relative to what you might spend on a US-based medical biller. The Filipino billers start out at $1,800 a month for a 40-hour-a-week remote biller. So there's a couple of different, sort of plans that they have, and, different levels of work that they can do for you. So you have different options, but very, very inexpensive relative to what you'd be paying a US-based biller. No issues with them accessing the data. Keep in mind that when a patient goes to the doctor, we've all been patients before. You fill out that HIPAA form, right? The privacy form. And that privacy form, if you ever read it, basically says that the doctor is authorized to use your information to send to any third party that is necessary for lab results, electronic systems, software, anything that they have to send your information to a third party. You as a patient, you sign off on the doctor's, ability to do that. You give the doctor authorization. And most doctor's offices make you sign that form every time you come in. So there's no issue whatsoever using Filipino billers. Obviously, we want everybody to maintain best practices, have complex user names and passwords, use two-factor authentication, do a background check if you're hiring someone that you don't know. You want to use common sense best practices, but never had an issue. And there's certainly no issue with the Filipinos billers doing the claims filing.
Yep, pretty easy. Eric was wanting to confirm the 30-day guarantee thing. He says, does it start when training starts or when signing the contract? That's a great question. We actually changed it. It actually now starts when your first training session starts, whenever that may be. So that absolutely assures most people can get through the whole training in about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks sometimes. So that gives you plenty of time to get through there. So hope that clarifies that. Cherie is asking, is this a one-person show or would we need multiple employees? Well, that depends on what you want to do with the business, Cherie. There are a lot of people that want to keep it smaller and home-based, and it's just like a 1 or 2 person operation, like one person, a spouse or a business partner or something like that. It's one person from a work like a work volume standpoint can handle maybe 5 or 6 doctors, somewhere around there. Maybe more, depending on several different factors. Because like I said, it's about an hour and a half to service one doctor each day to do the actual claim processing. So I would say our bigger owners, the higher producers, the people that are in the very high, 6 figures plus, they definitely have staff. But you have a lot of options on that as well. I mean, there are owners that hire real employees with salaries and benefits and the whole 9 yards. There's people that hire contract labor. And then like Jason mentioned, we have an option for you. If you get to the point where you want to grow and you need some help, we have some options for a subcontract work to do that through the partner that he was just talking about. So a lot of options there. Hopefully that answers that, Cherie.
Yeah, good question, Cherie. Thank you. Got another question from Zachariah. I hope I'm saying the name properly. Zachariah is asking how the system connects the doctor, the patient, the insurance company, and the pharmacy together. That is a great question and not an easy one to answer over, a just verbal presentation like this. Would strongly suggest getting back with your American Business Systems rep and asking for a software demo, because the software demo shows how all of that is fully integrated, and it's a very streamlined environment, and I think you'd enjoy seeing that on a live demo. So the way that it works is the system is connected between the doctor and the patient through the patient portal. And most people that see doctors here in the US probably have a patient portal that the doctor uses, where you can log in as a patient and see your statements and pay any bills. If you have a doctor bill you owe, you can probably request an appointment. You can probably chat back and forth with the doctor's staff. In some cases, you can request prescription refills. And in some cases, you can look at lab results. And we have that same patient portal option for the physicians to use. And so the patient portal is integrated with the practice management and the charting system, so that information that goes into the patient portal and information that goes into the charting system can be pushed back and forth between the patient portal. So that gives the patient access to their a portion of their medical record. Actually, they can download their medical record. But it also gives the ability for them to request prescriptions and appointments and everything else. And that's tied directly into our system. Now, the system is connected to the insurance companies through what's called a clearinghouse. And we're very fortunate. We're partnered with some amazing technology companies. Our premier partner for the software is a company called NextGen. And NextGen utilizes a clearinghouse called Waystar. And Waystar is the largest clearinghouse in the US. They're the best clearinghouse. We're super proud to be partnered with NextGen and Waystar. And it's one of the secret sauce elements of how we're able to get such good results with these physicians and their claims filing. So the clearinghouse is what processes the information and the data request from our software, the NextGen system, through to the insurance companies. The clearinghouse sits in the middle and basically translates the information to whatever end system the insurance company utilizes. So having a really good clearinghouse is critically important to making sure that that information is transferred properly. Same thing, the connections that we have to the pharmacy, to the laboratories, that is all done through our clearinghouse. There is one other thing that is built into the system that the doctor has the option to use, and we are tied to a prescription reporting service called SureScripts. And SureScripts gives the doctor the ability to import a 2-year prescription history for their patient. That's any pharmacy, any doctor nationwide. If the patient has had a prescription filled in the last 2 years, they get it on that doctor's report. So it gives that doctor full visibility of all of the prescriptions that patient is taking and has taken for 2 years. So that is built into the system as well. We're giving you just a very, very brief general flyover of how some of this is connected. Again, Zachariah, I would strongly recommend getting a software demo because we do a deep dive on these features and it's really cool to see live on screen. So get back with your rep and they'll walk you through that. But thank you for your question. Great question.
Yeah, good answer there. Charlotte is asking, can this system work with hospital claims? That's a good question. So, Charlotte, our target market is the private medical practices that file on a medical billing claim. It sounds like you might be in the industry. That's why you're asking. I don't know, but hospital claims are a different, whole different animal. It's a different type of form. So we don't typically go after that market. Now, that being said, we do have a partnership with another software company that can actually do some dental and hospital and medical claims, all three. And so they are a great fit for what's called federally qualified health centers that do dental, medical, and hospital claims. So you do have a market there. Now, should you market directly to just giant hospital systems? No, that's not our target market at all. You can't handle that. It's too much. But you do have some options for potentially getting some clients that are doing some of those claims, like I mentioned with the qualified health centers. So there you go.
Yeah, good question. Cherie just came through with a whole slew of questions here, so maybe we'll split these up. This first question is actually a really good one. Who owns the data that's generated from the billing activities? This is actually a point of confusion many times, who controls the system and the data in the system. So patients are, in a sense, the customer of the doctor, in a sense. So the doctor actually owns the data, the patient data that's in the system. So if the doctor decides to change billing service or change software or do anything, everybody, us, all of our partners, software companies, everybody's required by law to give the full database of all the patient information back to the doctor if they need that information to go into a different system or for whatever reason. The doctor owns the data. They can get the data anytime they want in a physical form. In our system, the doctor can actually download the medical records and the patient records and everything from the system directly. So they don't even have to ask permission. They can just take it if they want it. But that is actually an area of confusion because the sense is, oh, the doctor changes systems and then the software company owns the patient data. Absolutely not. It's always the doctor who maintains ownership over that patient data.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take the next question, Adam, about billing errors and handling denials, reworking claims?
Yeah, sure. Cherie says, how are billing errors and denials handled and who is responsible for them? And that's a good question. Now we're getting into the crux of what you are providing to your clients and the whole reason why your company exists. This is what you will be doing for the doctors. The service of helping them first make sure that their claims are clean and correct before sending in. That's something that we teach you how to do, and it's very easy to do with our system. That eliminates 98% of the typical billing errors that we see. Our system itself eliminates 90%, 98% of those. So less than 2% of the claims that you'll be sending in through our system are rejected, which is really great. I mean, the national rejection rate average is still, 15, 20%, somewhere around there. It's pretty high. And then with regard to denials, that's another service that you're actually offering the doctors, by being a full service revenue cycle company. You're telling the doctors, look, we're going to take care of everything related to your medical claims from start to finish so that you don't have to worry about it. So when denials happen, that means that the claim actually made it through the software and went to the insurance company, and the insurance company was able to look at it and go, oh, we found something wrong. We get to deny it. Yay. So they deny it. It comes back into our system, the system that you'll be using, and it just plainly shows you, here's why this was denied. Now, there may be situations where it was a very simple typo in the demographic information, maybe a misspelling of a name, a first name, last name, address, something very easily. You correct it, resubmit it, you're done. There may be issues where some of the coding is done wrong. Well, that may be a situation where you're actually having to contact the doctors and figure out, hey, you use this code and they don't, they didn't accept that. And the doctor says, oh, it's actually this code, which brings us to our service that we have called CodeWrite. So if you actually have a doctor that is consistently having issues with coding and not doing the coding right, you can offer a coding service to them and charge them extra money for that. And that way you won't be dealing with that, issue of codes being wrong. So that's another service that we have, one of the 12, that you can offer. And that's, you're making extra money on top of the percentage, which I don't know if we mentioned this, but our owners are right now, they're charging in the range of around 5 to 9%, somewhere around there, typically for doing the billing work. That's how much money they're making. Okay, so there's that. How much autonomy do I have in decision making? You have full autonomy, basically. I mean, if you look at our agreement, it's nothing like a franchise agreement. It's only 4 pages long. What you're signing with us is you're signing what we call a training and support purchase agreement. So in that agreement, you'll see, and we can send it to you to look at, it'll show you all the services, all the marketing materials that you're getting, everything that you're getting for your money. And you have complete control over what you want to do with your business. I mean, this is not a traditional franchise again. So, you can operate from your home, you can operate in other states. You can really have clients anywhere in the country that you want to. There's no limits in how you want to grow the business. So full autonomy for whatever decisions. You can offer other services. Like we have CPAs that join us, and they have a CPA practice and they have existing doctor clients, and it just makes perfect sense for them to start offering, their billing services as well as their, accounting and payroll and stuff. So it fits right in with what they're doing. So there's really no limitations there in how you want to do it. And then she also says, are there any hidden fees or for software?
Before you jump into the next
Yeah,
question, I want to add one thing on top of that. So
sure.
most people probably on this webinar either are looking at other franchise opportunities or have looked at other franchise opportunities. So I think it's really important to understand the difference between a traditional franchise model and our business model, which is technically classified as a business opportunity. So first and foremost, when you invest in a franchise, in the traditional franchise model, you are actually investing in a brand name. So people think about franchising, you think about McDonald's and Subway, these big national franchise brands. So with our model, you do not invest in the American Business Systems brand. We actually help you develop your own brand, your own company name. So in Cherie's question, when she's asking how much, autonomy do you have for decisions in your business, it's your business, it's your company, it's your brand. You have full autonomy. So that's one. You don't use the American Business Systems brand name. It's one of the reasons we're a fraction of the investment. McDonald's, a big portion of your investment with McDonald's, which is going to be over $1 million to get a single location, you're investing in that huge brand. Billions of dollars spent globally on that brand name. Number two, We do not have, as Adam just touched on, we don't have any marketing restrictions or territories of any kind. A traditional franchise most often has a zip code or an area code, or they carve out a piece of your market, and you can't get clients outside of that restricted market. That's not the case with us. You can get clients anywhere in the US. We have no restrictions at all. The only thing that we don't allow is we would not allow you to displace another American Business Systems owner if you got a referral and you were talking with a doctor that was already getting services provided by another ABS owner. And we would not allow another ABS owner to do that to you. You could have somebody in a totally different market on the other side of the country, and they get a referral, or maybe they're on vacation in your town or something, and they're doing some marketing and they run across one of your doctors. It's never happened in 30 years of doing business, but we wouldn't allow that to happen. So we're not going to let other ABS owners take your clients. Two other things: we don't have any kind of a royalty structure, profit sharing, membership dues, association fees. There's no, once you turn the corner and you make your investment, all of a sudden you've got all this money that you have to pay to us every month. That's not our model whatsoever. And since we don't have a royalty structure, we also don't have any financial reporting that's required. So all of those different key points are the exact opposite of a traditional franchise model. We're very proud of it. We think it's a much more owner-friendly model. Our owners really enjoy not having that franchise, breathing down your neck, very strict regulations, and you have to follow, franchise disclosure documents and franchise purchase agreements are hundreds of pages long, and most of the language in those agreements is designed so that you have no rights or privileges as an owner. We have a very open model, so important to understand. And Adam, if you want to continue with the hidden fees and stuff.
I mean, that's so, we don't have anything hidden. First of all, you may want to check out, Cherie, if you haven't seen our research guide, we can send you a link to that. It's a 60-page PDF document, goes into a lot more detail on the business model, but it will share with you some of the systems that we have for different services. And there are some fees for some of those systems, but they're always built into what you're invoicing to your clients. So you're always having your clients that are paying you, you're always having them, the fees are covered by what they're paying you. You've got it built in, bundled in. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing else that's hidden, or let's see, additional training, extra support. No, you really truly get lifetime support that covers anything that you need help with, as far as, marketing questions, technical questions. That's for the life of your business. It never expires. And the reason why we do that is because we make a little bit of money from some of our software partners when you sign up clients. So we are absolutely invested in your success. We are vested in your success. We want you to be signing up clients because we get some small residuals from some of our software companies for you doing that. So it's definitely a win-win-win for sure.
Yep. I don't know if you mentioned this, but Cherie, if you have not seen our research guide, it's a 65-page PDF. You can request that directly from our website, or you can go directly to your rep. They'd be happy to send you a link to the document. The research guide on page 62 or 63, it has a detailed rundown of just general expenses that you're going to have related to this business, or really running any business. You have to think about things like forming your LLC, registering the LLC with your state, website hosting. There's some small fees that you have no matter what kind of business you're running. So just to make sure that you are very aware going in of what the different costs are going to be. American Business Systems doesn't charge you any hidden or surprise fees, but just running the business is going to have some, little things here and there that will be cost. We're a very, very lean operational cost model. There's hardly any expense to run a business like this until the business grows to the point where you're hiring medical billers.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be tapping on the brakes here in just a second. You're welcome, Cherie. Appreciate the great questions. We've got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to really quickly take Eric's question, and maybe we can take the final question there, and we'll move on to the end of the webinar. Eric is asking, is our target market independent clinics, and is that in any specialized or general care? So basically, we have about 30 types of specialty medicine that those are really good clients to get. Those are the ideal. If you could just pick any client, the top 3 client types that we recommend and that our owners have is cardiology, podiatry, and pain management. That's the biggest, portion of our overall client base with our owners. You make a pile of money, the doctors make a pile of money, and there's really strong benefits with them using our systems and services. So why not go after the prime market if you can? Now, you can service anyone who files any claim of any type anywhere. I mean, you can do dental, you can do chiropractic, you can do facility billing. We've already talked about some of that. You can do all that if you'd like, but if you're talking about focusing your marketing efforts, we give you 30 types of specialty medicine to focus on. So keep that in mind.
Just one more thought on that. Sorry, were you done with that one?
That's done. Yeah.
Okay, just one more comment on that, Eric. We tend to focus on small to medium sized private practices. So like 10 doctors in a group or less is kind of the sweet spot. It works really, really well with the systems that we have. We do have owners that sign up much bigger accounts than that, but that is kind of the sweet spot, 10 or less in a group, a private practice. So
Yeah, I'm just going to hammer out these 2 last questions really quickly. We'll just kind of jump through it.
all right.
Zachariah is asking, what are owners charging these doctors for the billing service? Adam, you mentioned that earlier, but our owners usually charge anywhere from as low as 4% to we've seen as high as 10%. Most of the time that falls in the 6 to 7% range. And that's a percentage of the total claims reimbursed to that doctor every month. So that's a loose calculation there. And that is a percentage of the claim amount that is reimbursed. So that's the actual reimbursements that the doctor's getting, which for general purposes is almost the entire revenue of that medical practice. So that's the norm on that. If you want more details, contact your rep. They can walk you through income model scenarios and things like that. And then finally here, and we're going to have to shut the questions down and wrap up. Charlie's asking if he can run his own medical billing business from India. It's possible, Charlie, to run your business from anywhere in the world, but the doctors, your clients, have to be US-based physicians. It only works in the US healthcare system, and you would want to have someone in the United States who's doing your marketing and managing the business. It would be virtually impossible to launch and grow the business remotely because, wildly different time zone. There's all kinds of factors, but you'd want to be actually someone involved with growing and managing your business needs to be in the US geographically. But appreciate the questions. Adam, we've only got a couple minutes here, so let's zip through these final slides. Want to briefly talk about our due diligence steps. Many of you are starting the process. Many of you, like Alan, are completely finished with the process. But these are the different steps that we have for everyone to really thoroughly research the business model and do your due diligence. The research guide, ask your rep if you haven't seen it. That is the manual for starting a business like this. We have an awesome YouTube channel. Every single Wednesday, we have a live webinar. We record the webinar. We put the video on the YouTube channel. Check out the YouTube channel, hundreds and hundreds of hours of webinars and interviews. If you have not talked with some of our American Business Systems owners, please don't hesitate to ask your ABS rep for a list of references. They'd be happy to provide it and let you chat with some of our successful owners. We've mentioned several times on this webinar, if you haven't seen a demo of the software, get with your ABS rep. They'd be happy to walk you through a live demo of the system. If you're getting down to the decision point and you're ready to move forward, we can also give you a purchase agreement. Again, ask your rep and they'll get a purchase agreement to you. And then as soon as we've got the purchase agreement, we'll get the funding sorted out. We'll process your funding and we'll get you very quickly into a training session. One last thing before we wrap up, don't forget we have a 30-day unconditional 100% money back guarantee. We're the only franchise in the world that has a 30-day money back guarantee. I think we had a question about when does the guarantee start? And just to reiterate, the guarantee period starts when you start your first training session. It gives you plenty of time to wrap up the training. So that wraps up our webinar today. If you have more questions, You can send an email to info@absystems.com. Of course, you can go to the main website, absystems.com, or call our 866 number 565-8413. Adam, thanks for co-hosting today. Thanks for joining us. And thanks to everyone who attended today. We really appreciate you spending part of your afternoon with us.
You got it. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers. Take care, everyone.